Have you ever wondered if ancient civilizations had technology far more advanced than we give them credit for? What if I told you that the ancient Romans, over 1,600 years ago, were practicing a form of nanotechnology so sophisticated that modern scientists only fully understood it in the last few decades? It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's absolutely true. And the proof lies in one of the most mysterious and beautiful artifacts ever discovered, the Lycurgus Cup. This isn't just any old Roman cup. It's a masterpiece of glasswork that holds a mind-bending secret. When you shine a light on it from the front, it appears a dull, opaque jade green. But when you shine a light through it from behind, it magically transforms, glowing with a vibrant, translucent ruby red. For centuries, this color-changing effect baffled historians and scientists alike. How could Roman artisans, working with basic tools in the 4th century AD, create something that seems to defy the laws of physics? Today, we're going on a journey back in time and into the world of atoms to uncover the incredible science behind the Lycurgus Cup. We'll explore how these ancient craftsmen, without any knowledge of modern physics or chemistry, managed to embed nanoparticles of gold and silver into glass, creating what is now known as a dichroic material. This is the story of accidental genius, a lost art, and the birth of nanotechnology long before the term was even invented. So let's start with the cup itself. Housed in the British Museum, the Lycurgus Cup is a rare example of a Roman cage cup, or diatritum. These were luxury items, incredibly difficult to make. The outer decorative cage is carved from a single thick blank of glass, leaving a delicate, freestanding network of figures attached to the inner cup by small glass bridges. The scene depicted on the cup is a dramatic moment from the myth of King Lycurgus of Thrace, who attacked Dionysus, the god of wine. As punishment, he was ensnared by Ambrosia, a follower of Dionysus who transformed into a vine. It's a powerful and dynamic scene, but the real magic, as we know, is in its color. For a long time, the prevailing theory was that the color change was simply due to the thickness of the glass or some unknown impurities. It wasn't until 1990, when British researchers were allowed to examine a tiny fragment of the cup under a powerful electron microscope, that the truth was revealed. What they found was astonishing. The glass was peppered with microscopic particles of silver and gold, so incredibly small they measured only about 50 nanometers in diameter. To put that into perspective, that's about 1,000th the size of a grain of table salt. These weren't just random impurities. They were deliberately infused into the molten glass. The ancient Romans had created a nanocomposite material. Now, this is where the physics gets really cool. The phenomenon responsible for the Lycurgus Cup's color change is called surface plasmon resonance. It sounds complicated, but the basic idea is quite elegant. When light hits a metal nanoparticle, the electrons on the surface of the metal start to oscillate or vibrate in a collective wave. Think of it like a ripple on the surface of a pond. This collective vibration is the plasmon. How these electrons vibrate depends on two main things: the size of the nanoparticles and the wavelength, or color, of the light hitting them. In the case of the Lycurgus Cup, the gold and silver nanoparticles are just the right size to interact with light in a very specific way. When light is shown onto the front of the cup, it's a process of reflection. The nanoparticles are particularly good at scattering blue and green light. So when white light, which contains all colors, hits the cup, the blue and green wavelengths are scattered back towards our eyes. The other colors, like red, are mostly absorbed or passed through. The result? We see the cup as a murky, opaque green. But when the light source is placed inside the cup and shines through the glass, it's a process of transmission. This time, the light is passing through the material to reach our eyes. The nanoparticles are still scattering the blue and green light, but now that scattered light is being directed away in all directions and doesn't reach us. What does make it through the glass is the light that was scattered, primarily the longer wavelengths of red light. So the cup appears to glow with a brilliant translucent red color. It's the same physics, just viewed from a different angle. The real question, of course, is how did the Romans do it? They certainly didn't have electron microscopes or a modern understanding of quantum physics. The most likely answer is that it was a result of incredible skill, experimentation, and a bit of happy accident. Roman glassmakers were masters of their craft. They knew that adding small amounts of certain metals to glass could produce vibrant colors. For example, cobalt creates a deep blue, and copper can create reds and greens. To make the Lycurgus Cup, the artisan would have needed to add a very precise amount of ground-up gold and silver dust. We're talking about 40 parts per million for gold and 300 for silver. This mixture would have been added to the molten glass. The size of the resulting nanoparticles depends heavily on the temperature of the furnace and how long the glass is heated. It's a delicate balancing act. Too hot and the particles grow too large. Too cool and they won't form correctly. The Roman craftsmen must have, through countless trials and errors, perfected a recipe and a process to create nanoparticles of the exact size needed to produce this stunning dichroic effect. It's a testament to their empirical skill, their ability to observe, experiment, and refine their techniques without understanding the underlying scientific principles. They didn't know they were manipulating matter at the nanoscale. They just knew that adding a pinch of this and a dash of that, and heating it for just the right amount of time, produced this magical, color-shifting glass. It was a secret formula, likely passed down from master to apprentice and eventually lost to time. The fact that only a handful of Roman glass fragments with similar properties have ever been found suggests that this was an extremely rare and difficult technique, mastered by only a select few. What's even more fascinating is that this ancient technology has inspired modern science. Today, researchers are developing new applications based on the very same principles seen in the Lycurgus Cup. For instance, nanoparticles of gold and silver are being used in advanced medical diagnostics. Scientists can coat these nanoparticles with antibodies that bind to specific disease markers like cancer cells. When a laser is shown on a sample, the color of the scattered light can indicate whether the disease is present, providing a quick and highly sensitive test. It's essentially a modern-day Lycurgus Cup, but instead of glowing red to entertain a Roman emperor, it changes color to save lives. This technology is also being explored for creating advanced optical sensors, new types of stained glass for smart windows that can control the amount of light and heat passing through, and even for improving the efficiency of solar cells. By embedding nanoparticles into materials, we can control how they interact with light in ways that were previously unimaginable. The legacy of those ancient Roman glassmakers is alive and well, fueling a new wave of technological innovation. So the next time you look at an ancient artifact, remember the Lycurgus Cup. It's more than just a beautiful object. It's a symbol of human ingenuity. It reminds us that technology isn't always about circuit boards and digital code. Sometimes it's about the patient, skillful manipulation of materials, guided by observation and artistry. The Romans may not have called it nanotechnology, but they were practicing it in their workshops 1,600 years ago, creating magic with fire, sand, and a sprinkle of precious metal dust. They left us a puzzle that took nearly 2 millennia to solve, and in doing so, they gave us a glimpse into a lost world of incredible craftsmanship and a roadmap for the technologies of the future. It's a beautiful reminder that sometimes the most futuristic ideas can be found by looking deep into our past. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the secrets of the Lycurgus Cup. If you found this as fascinating as I do, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories from the intersection of history and science, and share this video with anyone who loves a good mystery. See you in the next one.